We have this creeping in dark new age in society today. And it says that I'm not allowed to say that the esoteric breast massage may in fact prevent other illnesses that we know of, such as breast cancer, etc. And I'm not going to say it on this film, obviously, or on this interview. But from an energetic point of view, we can remove the energy. I need to have millions and millions of dollars of research to be able to prove something that cannot be proven in a laboratory necessarily, but anecdotally we have the proof that many people have improved their health exponentially through the modalities that we're using. Now, the question then becomes, can you prove it, Serge? And I'll say, yes, I can, easily, because anecdotally, which is a living truth and pure evidence, it can be verified by those who say, yes, my body is much better, yes, I have connected. I mean, you yourself, who is scientifically trained, can actually speak of the benefits of these modalities. And you are scientifically trained to understand whether something occurs or not. So it cannot be just simply psychosomatic. You would understand if it was. And so the question here is much bigger. The consideration is, what can we say and what we can't say? Is that being dictated by money? Does now money buy truth? And is money buying science? Is science today simply money? And how big your wallet is? Or are we talking about human beings? And are we talking about true health? And therefore opening up the possibilities that there's more to medicine than just what money can buy.
Yes, you mentioned the plenty of anecdotal experiences. Now, from a medical perspective, they tend to be a bit dismissive of the anecdote. So can you say, you touched on it, but can you say a little bit more about what your understanding of anecdote is and its significance?
Look, anecdotal evidence has been poo-pooed simply because you can't own it. You can't own 500 people or 7 million people or 10 million people. And you can't control it. And you can't group it and identify it. What you can say is, you come and have a session, and if you feel good at the end of it, and after a few sessions, that changes your lifestyle, and suddenly you realize that through the tenderness and the delicacy of your own body, you change your eating habits, you drop smoking, perhaps you don't drink alcohol anymore. That's enough anecdotal evidence. That's enough evidence per se. And so the human being is capable of understanding their own truth. No one's been converted. They've been asked to experience something and then go and live. And if they come back and report the fact that they've improved their health and they feel much better and that the relationship improves, nobody can say to that person, that's not true. You can't. You can only say, we haven't proven it under our model that is true, but that's not how it's actually said. It's actually dismissed as being not true without actually saying the actual facts. In other words, our model hasn't tested that, therefore we can say, in accordance to our model, that it's not true. However, madam, sir, is that true to you? Has this truly occurred? And if the answer is yes, that's all the evidence that you need.
Yeah, so you're bringing it back very much to the person's own experience and their relationship with their body and how their health has improved. And in terms of not making any claims about what any of the modalities or esoteric breast massage can do, but saying if people have had those modalities and that connects them with a tenderness, a care within themselves that then influences their lifestyle, that is ultimately then going to improve their health and well-being. And that's certainly what's happened in my own case, and also I've seen that within the students of universal medicine.
So Eunice, I'm asking you a question here. If you can remember far back when you were a GP or training, never a GP, but maybe you can understand in some of the training. If I'm a patient coming into a GP office, in a GP clinic scenario, the general practitioner is going to ask me questions. And based on my answers, I'm going to get a diagnosis and there will be an examination, obviously. So there's something about what I'm saying that is taken as evidence. Obviously, the general practitioner knows what to ask and then follow it up with an examination. But you don't need a double-blind randomized trial to say I've got a sore throat and that I've got, tonsillitis. And so at that face value, I could be given antidepressants, I could be given sleeping pills, or I could be given antibiotics simply because of a conversation. It's no different. If you say that you have benefited from a healing session and that is your truth, we can't dismiss that because so long as that sustains itself, so long as that is true for you, then we have won something. Society has now gained one person who is living much better than they were before. And so that's where we have to come together to understand what is truly going on.
So we're touching on here the whole subject of evidence-based medicine, which obviously is very prolific and considered to be the gold standard today by which any treatment or modality is considered, and that without that evidence base, that medicine will basically not take on board anything that is outside that paradigm, as it were. How do you see evidence-based medicine in terms of understanding how it's currently being run in the world today and its impact on medicine?
Look, if we're dealing with actual pharmaceutical medicine that could potentially be lethal in large doses or lethal per se, then we need that gold standard to make sure that what we are consuming is safe. But that's not the end. That's not the end. That's not the only gold standard. Gold standard is the evidence of a person saying, yes, my life has improved, or no, my life has not improved. That is also evidence. If you're in a murder trial, you don't need a double-blind randomized trial to say, Your Honor, I saw that man kill X, Y, Z, and therefore that person could be put in jail if there's evidence based on what a person will say. So you don't have to have 30 witnesses. You only need one witness who will testify and correlate the action. And so it's the same thing here. We've got to be careful that commercialism doesn't start owning the dictionary. The word evidence is not owned but by what money can buy. Evidence is evidence, and it's you saying, yes, it has worked for me, therefore there is evidence that what you experience has worked. It's very, very simple. You cannot be dismissed because a person is not an idiot. And if a person says, look, my life has changed, that's evidence. Very simple, really.
And so it's bringing it back to the truth of the person's experience and their body. You have mentioned in your talk that the body is the marker of truth. Can you say something about that?
Yeah, the body is the marker of all truth. We can't lie to our bodies. If you drink too much, it gives you a hangover. And so it has its own intelligence. And I like to be playful with this because what intelligence says I can drink as much as I like? That's one intelligence. And the body gives you a hangover. Obviously the body is more intelligent. But who is deciding how much drink when the body is saying that's too much? So there's a contest there that obviously the body is showing itself to be the higher of the two intelligences. Because one is showing I can do whatever, and the other one's saying, no, you cannot. And if you keep doing it, I'll give you gout. If you cannot, I'll give you some form of poison. And so we have to understand that I've not just been talking about the body being the marker of all truth, but also that our true intelligence is a whole body experience. We have a whole bodied type of intelligence that we have to connect to, and not just the one that we use in our brain, which is actually recall and memory-based intelligence. And so I've also been introducing the factor of intelligence that is in the body. And look, that in itself is evidence. And that in itself is it's not that I'm saying the gold standard is wrong. I'm saying it's wrong to hold the current held gold standard as the only way. That would be introducing the Dark Ages back into humanity.